Guys, if you have clicked this video, then you already have a pretty good idea of what we're going to be talking about today. But essentially, there has been a big leak surrounding what we assume will be spoilers. Guys, if you do not want any spoilers for Final Shape, this is your last moment to turn back. All right, what we assume will be the 6th subclass arriving in the Final Shape. Now, no lie, we feel very conflicted when covering these leaks, but we covered it last year for Strand. And the reason why we're covering this one is because we need to go over the legitimacy of said leak. Now, keep in mind, August the 22nd is going to be the big reveal for Final Shape and pretty much for everything following the Light and Darkness saga. We will be live for that. You can come check out our Twitch stream. And I, like many of you, are wondering what's next. Now, I've gone on the record to say that there is no way Bungie is going to give us back-to-back subclasses in consecutive annual expansions. It just doesn't happen, guys. I need us all to understand this right now, why this is going to be such a big deal if it is in fact true. But first, let's get into the details of today's video. Now, what we're talking about today is this right here, a recent leak showcasing a new transmat effect. Now, that's not what we care about. No, what we actually care about is this on the bottom left of the screen. For just a brief moment, we see a red melee charge, as well as a new super icon. Now, this was originally posted Tuesday to the Destiny Leaks subreddit from user Nimbus9002, saying, quote, "A friend of mine sent me this new super icon and a link to the Veed.io video showcasing this video." Now, since then, the original post on Reddit has been deleted along with Nimbus9002. His account is gone. That's suspicious. Now, if you remember from last year, this is almost exactly the same way Strand was also leaked. One of Bungie's VFX artists posted showcases of a new finisher and animations for the Duality Dungeon Exotic Heart Shadow. Now, this all took place just under a year ago, also putting it a few weeks before the Destiny showcase, and just conveniently included the subclass icons. How convenient. Considering how low morale has been in the Destiny 2 community, this has led a lot of people to suspect that this was an intended leak. But to be honest with you guys, I don't even care. What we care about is what the hell this subclass is. Now, as we mentioned, we have that red second melee charge, with everything else being blanked out. Red or yellow has been speculated to be the final subclass color for quite a while now, considering we really don't have anything else. I mean, when you think about it, we got 2 shades of blue, we've got purple, we've got orange, we've got green. Yellow kind of runs into that same department as like our solar. But the question we have to ask, what would a red subclass look like? The obvious answer, Siva. Now listen, before everyone starts freaking out saying, new subclass Siva confirmed, let's take it back a notch. Yes, in a recent Veil Containment entry, we heard talk of Siva, and we've had Outbreak perfected in the game for years now. Bungie has already stated earlier this year that they are likely done with Siva, and with other leaks suggesting that Wrath of the Machine is not the returning raid next season. And I would have to agree, it probably is not a Siva subclass. So again, everybody calm down. I know it doesn't make sense. It's like, yo, Cross, Veil Containment, they're literally talking about Siva. But what are our other options? Well, we have the Darkness Resonance that we've seen over the last 2 years. In the pyramids, during Val the Disciple, literally on the back of Shadow Legion Cabal. We even have a video speculating on this from earlier this year before Lightfall launch. But honestly, guys, I don't think it's gonna be either of those. And that's probably for the best. I mean, look at what happened with Strand. Everyone thought it was going to be a corruption-based subclass, that it was gonna involve damage over time, Sorrow weapons, essentially what we get from Necrotic Grips, Thorn, Osseous Trigger, etc. And that was gonna be expanded on with that subclass. But we got an entirely different concept that I think none of us expected. And personally, I'm really wanting that level of surprise from our final Darkness subclass. Now, before moving on, I do want to point out those double Warlock melees. In last year's Strand leak, we saw a Titan with 3 melee charges, which actually turned out to be the real thing within our Strand Berserker Titan. It's obvious the Warlock in question is not wearing Claws of Ahamkara, and unlike the VFX test in the past, the Warlock is wearing the Optimacy Silver set that was released years ago instead of the Season the Hunt armor. Now, moving on to the next thing, we see a new super icon there, and from our research, we can't seem to find that icon anywhere else. Now, you may be thinking, Cross, it looks like Well of Radiance. Like, there's some similarities here, and if you think of Well of Radiance where you stab the sword into the ground, or maybe even the Javelin relics from the Warmind DLC, you can start to see some of that overlap. Now, keep in mind, this could very well just be a placeholder image, similar to what happened in last year's leak. Now, I will say though, last year's super icon looked very unfinished to us. And at the time, we actually speculated that it was going to be super similar to that of Blade Dancer from Destiny 1. But looking back at it now, it was definitely unfinished and just a placeholder. But this icon though, there's just something different about it. It's way more detailed. Too much to just be a placeholder icon. Again, that's just our opinion. We'll just have to wait and see. Now we want to go into some speculation regarding the validity of this leak, because as convincing as it looks, it's kind of odd that it happened twice under almost identical circumstances. Who's to say this isn't the work of a third party pretending to be Bungie? As mentioned, this is very similar to the leak that we got last year with Strand. Looking at previous art showcases, we can see a Nightfall timer in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. This is not present on normal player instances of the game. Either someone went into great lengths to add this overlay in, or it's the actual developer build. Now, the clues that point towards this video being from Bungie is the infinite heavy ammo, mismatched subclass ability icons, and of course, the custom super icon noted in the HUD. Again, these are all things that could be photoshopped, but it would take a considerable amount of work, meaning whoever did this, if they were faking it, had some skill. Now, we've also seen some discussion that the radar is a clear sign that the leak is real, because if you look at the top left-hand corner, the Seas in the Deep vendors aren't present on the display. The transmat effect used in the clip is a methane burst, which wasn't available until Seas in the Deep. And after doing some investigative work, we found that those HUD elements don't immediately load in after spawning in the helm. So this doesn't completely rule out the possibility of a fake. However, the attention to detail required to fake a video like this, I personally believe it is too high to just be a third party, especially considering said individual would not personally benefit from this leak. The account that posted it was also deleted. And if the next subclass we received isn't red, then they would be proved wrong either way. As it stands, the most logical answer is yes. This is a legitimate leak from Bungie. Now, how and why did this happen? I mean, last year's leak was posted on an ArtStation account that seemed to be an innocent mistake made by the dev. This time though, there's no ArtStation, no source, just someone named Nimbus 9002, with his only source being, "Trust me, bro." Now, taking a closer look, we can't even see it now because their account has been deleted, but this was a brand new Reddit account that had never posted before Tuesday. And also, the account name, Nimbus. Kind of random that someone just chose to create a Reddit account with the same name as one of our characters within Destiny 2. Also, how did this person acquire this leak? Their friend sent it to them? I find it hard to believe a dev would risk losing their job just to send a leak to their friend. No, guys, something is off here. Looking at all the evidence, the team and I believe this is an inside job. Bungie purposely leaked this video. And considering all the blow up that has happened here recently with breaking NDAs, I don't see anyone taking that risk right now to leak some stuff. And the fact that community sentiment is so low, and there's really nothing hyping us up from now until August the 22nd, Bungie is not showing us anything else. We are entering the lull portion of the season. All the quests are out, all the seasonal content is out, all the narratives are out. It's oddly convenient that this leak suddenly surfaced. Again, Bungie's biggest fear is not people being mad about the game. Bungie hates apathy. They don't want people to stop talking about the game. That's literally the worst fear of any live service game. Even if negativity is extremely high, Bungie's okay with that, as long as the conversation is still going. Considering how much of a snooze fest Solstice event is, which we're gonna get into at some point, nothing shuts that complaint up faster than a new subclass leak, right? Bungie's like, hey, don't look at Eververse. Ooh, look, new subclass. Now, the last thing we want to point out about this leak, it's not necessarily pertaining to the subclass itself, but it's still a potential hint for a future season. We see the player has 2 pulse rifles equipped and is holding one in their hand, which looks awfully similar to the Curse of Osiris pulse rifle Machina Day 4, which was a kinetic high-impact pulse. The other weapon we see is an arc pulse rifle, which looks like Infinite Pass, which was an arc lightweight pulse. Now, the significance of these weapons, well, we have to ask ourselves, why would a Bungie dev be using these two? The likely reason? They're being brought back. Not just the weapons though, but Mercury itself. Keep in mind, Mars has returned somewhat. Leviathan also returned last year. Titan has also returned, and all of our weapons in the game have come back or in the process of continuing to come back. Menagerie weapons, Seven Seraph and Ikelos weapons, Reckoning weapons. It's not that far out there to believe that Mercury wouldn't return, and with it, those same destination weapons. And there have been many hints pointing toward this outcome, even before the Witch Queen. We've speculated that Mars, Titans, and Mercury would return. So far, 2 of those 3 predictions have come true. Granted, none of the destinations have returned to us in the way that they originally were, which is a bummer. The other thing is that Bungie has also mentioned about the future beyond the Light and Darkness saga, which seems to be centered around Vex. Guys, are you seeing the correlations here? Mercury, Vex, these weapons. This is all looking very legitimate to me. So guys, that is it for our breakdown. What I will say is that it's pretty impressive if Bungie Bungie does give us another subclass. Never has Bungie done back-to-back subclasses. There's always a year in between. And I know everyone's like, Cross, what about 3.0 subclasses? That's still not the same as giving us an entirely new subclass. Think about it, guys. Take Forsaken, for instance. We got Shadowkeep, which brought no new subclass, and then we got Beyond Light. And then what followed after that? Witch Queen, which everyone was convinced we were gonna get some sort of corruption subclass surrounding Witch Queen, and it was gonna dive into like hive powers. But no, we didn't get that. We didn't get a new subclass for Witch Queen. There is a year gap normally in between all these new subclasses, because Strand didn't come until this past year in Lightfall. If Bungie's actually able to chew out another subclass a mere year later, this is a testament to the Sandbox team. And I will say this, I have complained about monetization in Destiny and seasonal content, but if there is one area of the game that Bungie has really doubled down on and has done a fantastic job on, it's Sandbox. And the reason why I am still kinda on the edge of this, despite me looking at this leak and believing it to be true, I do believe this is an inside job from Bungie just to garner some hype before the actual reveal on August the 22nd. But we have seen some of our old Sandbox developers that have been working on Destiny 2 for years move off from Destiny onto another project, which is why I immediately assumed we weren't going to get a new subclass in final shape. Regardless though, everything is going to come down to August the 22nd. Come by our stream, guys. We'll be live streaming the entire thing, doing breakdowns, etc. But what I will say is that this year is going to have to pop, more so than ever before. And I know we say that a lot, but Lightfall had the luxury of Witch Queen performing so well. A lot of us pre-ordered Lightfall just because of our experience with Witch Queen. Final Shape does not have that luxury. Everything is truly going to come down to that reveal. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.